Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game, hopefully. Today's episode, I've been dying to make this video. I've been dying to get this out. I really want to share this with you guys because recently out on course, as you may have heard me mention in a previous Sundays at 3 with GTD video, I had a real breakthrough. All right, it's time to get going. Chad, what is the big breakthrough? How did you do it? What did you do? Before we get too deep into this, I want to just say this really quickly. I want to preface this entire video by saying this. The things that I'm going to talk about in this video may or may not be something that Sean would come out and put his seal of approval on. These are things that I found myself helping me. They're not necessarily something that Sean believes in or that's something that he would teach or something that he would endorse. This is my personal experience. All right, here is what I saw on the golf course the other day. I did not get it recorded. I thought it was going to be just a regular day on the golf course. I forgot my phone when I left. I turned around, I came back to get my camera phone. When I checked it, I only had 10% battery on it. I was just like, it's going to be a normal day. No big deal. I'm just going to have to play a little golf. I won't film it. It's fine, right? Absolutely wrong. On hole number 10, and I triple verified this yardage from the tee to where it was, from where it was back to the tee, and then from where it was to the flag at the green. 258 to the water in front of the green. I pull that 6-iron, 202 yard 6-iron. 202 yards. Now, this was almost all carry. 202 with a 6-iron. If you know me, that does not happen. Typically, a 6-iron for me is 165, 170, 200 yard 6-iron. I'm thinking that's a fluke. It's a fluke, right? I start hitting these laser rockets with my driver. They're going straight. They're going long. They're going far. Farther than I've been hitting driver in years. More 6-irons. More 6-irons. I know that I hit at least a half a dozen 6-irons that traveled between 185 and 200 even after that one. And I wasn't swinging out of my shoes. I wasn't out of control. Everything was very much in control where I wanted to put the ball. It's not to say that I hit 100% of the rest of my shots fantastically and that they all went right where I wanted and I aced every shot. I'm just saying this was an exponentially more incredible ball striking day that I've had in maybe forever. So what did I do different? That's the million-dollar question. Here you go. Number 1, do not be afraid to try and experiment with different ways to hold the golf club. Forget what they show you and what they say you should be doing with your grip and go with a grip that actually works. Experiment and try until you find something where you go, oh my God, that's it. If you watched Sav and Moo on any of Sean's videos, you know they're both lefties and they both have what you would call super strong grips. Both of them look sort of like this, to where their hands, if you square that club face up and then I set it down, their hands are that strong. I could see all 4 knuckles on the back of that grip. And then this right hand is almost underneath, right? It's sitting there square like that, and as Sean says, when you collect, it squares up. So now if I hold it out straight, that's kind of how they grip the club, with the club sitting almost like that. But then when they turn and set, the club is nice and square, but you can see all 4 knuckles. I just started playing around with it, and I thought, what the heck? I'll try it. Here's what I found. For all you flippers out there, like me, check this out. If I set my wrists in a fairly neutral to slightly strong position, look at this. I can come through and flip all day. Look at the back of that wrist. I can flip all day. However, if I put my hands on like this, strong like that, check this out. I can try to straighten that club out as much as possible, but I can't get past totally up and down. So even if I come in and I'm trying to flip as hard as I want in it, that's as far as I can go. And look at that. That's shaftling. I can't go. My wrist physically will not go any further than that. I have to come through. That almost prevents a flip at impact. That was key number 1. I just kind of tried it and figured that out, and I was like, wow, This is absolutely fabulous. Now, the big thing that you think about with that is, well, if your hands are on that strong, you're always going to hit just these giant sweeping hooks, right? Absolutely not. Look at the Jim Venetos method. He puts his hands on, he pivots, and then grips. And then look at that. He's got his hands on strong, right? He doesn't hook everything. He hits baby draws. He can hit fades. He can hit low ones, high ones, anything. So don't be afraid to experiment with your grip. But Savannah and Moo are both really long hitters, and they have really strong grips. Number two, all of you single planers out there are going to love this one. I had been speaking with Sean, and you've seen it on some of the lesson videos, on how I was trying to get my hands away from me a little bit more. You know, I was setting up with my hands really kind of close. So I was playing around with just trying to get them out a little bit more away from me. But then I took it one step further. Bryson DeChambeau, king of the long driving single planers, who has just validated everything that everybody's been talking about with the single plane swing. He had this tip in a video that I saw where he was talking about his left elbow. And he made the statement that he wanted to keep his left elbow pointing down the line toward the target for as long as possible, right? Instead of letting this turn over too soon, he's trying to keep the left elbow facing the target as long as possible. So I put on my strong grip, and now I've got my left elbow facing the target, and when I set up, I'm not perfectly single plane. I'm not like this, right? I'm not set up that way, but I am set up with a lot less angle between my arm and the shaft. So that's kind of my setup, right? I keep my arm out, I keep my hands away from me. That's the second thing that led to this huge breakthrough in my ball striking. The third thing, this was an accident. All I've been doing to take it to the top is turning my hips and letting my arm float up, right? And get my width. But when I got to the top on one, this sort of thing happened. I'm not exactly sure how, but all of a sudden, I'm using my legs more, and this right elbow starts to feel like it's going to come straight down. Like I heaved it up, and then when it got here, I started falling with the club. You take it up to the top, you let it levitate for a second, and then it starts to fall, and you start to fall with it, and this whole thing comes down. And as it comes down, your body starts to catch. You almost catch the club, almost like if I was going to throw you an egg, you wouldn't just hold your hand out there still and catch it. It would break. You would start to receive the egg. You receive it to allow it to make softer contact with your hand, and then you'd almost redirect it. You catch it like that and redirect it back in here to sort of take that impact out of it. So when I threw it up to the top like that, I started to fall with the club, and then I'm going to receive it down here. And once I got it and I caught it, then right here, it's to spring back up with using the legs and throw it toward the target. So I know it's kind of hard to explain this one, but this was crucial for me. It takes the effort and the redirecting that you do, that hit from the top. When you get it up here, you heave it and you let it levitate, and then from there you start to go down with the club and let the club fall, let your knees start to load, and look, my intention is still to throw the club toward the target. So as it comes down, I come down with it, and then when it gets down here, we're going to push the kid on the swing, and we're going to throw and release. It's just like pushing the kid on the swing. When the kid is on a swing and he's coming back to you, you have to receive the kid. You can't hold your hands out like this and let the kid just bang into your hands. You'll knock him out of the swing. So as his momentum is coming back, you're going to come back and absorb and receive. Then you're going to wait, let it levitate for a second, and then we're going to just start to fall with them. You're going to fall with them. And then once you feel them start to get a little bit of steam, now you're going to add acceleration. Once they get near here and you feel they're stable, you add acceleration and you push down and through. And the kid comes up like a rocket ship on the other side. Now they've got even more momentum. You come back, you receive again, you fall back with them, and then whoosh, you can accelerate at the end. It is very much like a kid on a swing. Before, let's see if I can get it in here. When I would swing to the top, I had no patience. And I felt like I had to add speed. I had to create all of the speed on my own. I had to take this sucker from up here and move it as fast and as rapid over there as possible. All of the burden was then on me and my muscles to create all of that speed. No help. Nothing and nobody was going to help me. But now, when you get it to the top and you're up here, gravity starts to let you and your club fall, and then it starts to apply speed, and all you're doing is adding a little bit of caffeine. It's got the speed, it's falling. If I let it fall, it has to move in a circle. So all you're going to do is let it drop, and then when it gets here and it starts to turn, and your whole goal has to be to throw it that way, you're just going to help give it a little boost. And depending on how much of a boost you're going to give, you can change how much boost you give it, but you have to give it a smooth acceleration. You can't force it like that. It has to be a smooth acceleration. But the real thing that I felt when I got up to the top up here is that I felt like my arm and my elbow, see my right elbow starts coming down with me. And then here, now I'm throwing, now I've caught it. It was up here, I received it, caught it. Now we're going to start using our legs and we're going to start pushing, and rebounding back up. Just like Sean, when he does the club and he gets it up here and he uses his legs. I'm not using anything but my legs. So I go down, receive, and throw it up. Receive, throw it up. Receive, throw it up. That right there made all the difference in the world. Strong grip, kept my elbow facing out more toward the target rather than allowing it to get into a position where it could get flipped. Kept it back here and locked. And then when you do that, I'm throwing and releasing with reckless abandon toward the target by throwing the kid up and then receiving, letting it build, and then engaging the legs to throw it through. And that's really the big key. Arms off. You're throwing the arms in the club up. They levitate. They start to fall. You start to receive and fall with them by bending your knees. And then when it gets here, now we can start turning, throwing toward the target. We're building momentum the other way. And then we're going to add a little bit of acceleration. Not hard acceleration. A helping little boost out into the picture to throw it. All of those things combined made a huge, huge difference. I was consistent. My ball flights were long, straight. I could bend it a little bit to the left or right if I needed. I could hit it lower if I needed, all by changing ball position. I was not swinging out of my shoes, but I was generating this massive power, that effortless, smooth, accelerative speed. That was verified by one of the pictures I saw of Sean. If you ever watch him, sometimes they'll make a stop motion picture of him and you'll see his right elbow from the top start to come right down the side of him. Because he's not trying to get it over here. He's actually letting it fall, and then he's catching and he's turning and throwing and accelerating. Throwing the club, whipping it with effortless power out toward the target. I think the moral to the story is forget all of these things that you are supposed to be doing. You are you. Another thing that Sean talked about was his daughter Sav. One day she was trying to hit the ball further, and it was frustrating her because she just couldn't do it. She just couldn't get it out there. And so she kept trying, and then all of a sudden, Sean says he saw it. She engaged the legs and started using the legs, and the ball shot off like a cannon. And he said the choir started singing, and he was so proud in that moment because he didn't have to tell her. She just figured it out. It just clicked. And that's what happened with me. I think it can happen for a lot of you too. But we have so many little glass ceilings that we put on ourselves. To hell with the manual. To hell with what's supposed to be done. And what everybody else is telling you is supposed to be the right way. Experiment. Try new things. If the ball's going too far right, turn the club face over like that. Break through those barriers. Have your own breakthrough. I appreciate you guys watching. See you in the next video.